Appreciate you guys being on today. Appreciate the people at the Peach Bowl. We couldn't be more excited to still be playing at this stage of the season. Should be an exciting game, and everything. I've never had the opportunity to play in this game, but I've heard from other coaches who have, and I know everything's done first class. So we're really looking forward to getting to Atlanta tomorrow and being part of a great game. With that, I'll
Thank,
open for questions.
all right. Thanks, Coach. Thomas, go ahead and start us off.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. Thanks for joining us. Could you explain the differences between playing left and right tackle, and also, with your redshirt freshman Trevor Gooseby, what makes y'all comfortable with him playing at either spot?
I don't know that there's necessarily a difference. For the way we play the game, we don't change. We don't have plays that we run to the left or to the right or protections or things like that. I think it's a matter of reps. Can you get enough reps in practice to get comfortable? I think when a guy only plays one position, it generally takes like 3 to 5 days to kind of flip that guy over and get him comfortable on the other side. But sometimes for a guy who's a depth player like Trevor's been for us, he's been playing both sides the entire season. Not always, not every week. Some weeks he would play one side, some weeks he might play the other, some weeks I might play, but he's had the experience of doing it. So he's had to be trained like that. So I think it's a testament to him to be able to do it and to play at the level that he did. So we're certainly excited about him and his future. But I don't know if there's necessarily a difference. I just think it's a matter of, can you find the reps over time to get a guy to be comfortable to do it? Would he have been able to do that week one? I don't know that, but we're pretty far down the road this season, so he's had ample time to do both sides.
Joe Cook, go ahead.
Kyle, speaking of Trevor, he was someone who wasn't super highly ranked by some of the services, but obviously with his track and field exploits showed some athleticism. But what else during the recruiting process attracted y'all's program to wanting to recruit him and bring him into your offensive line room?
I would say, like, the first thing I would say is he was pretty high in my mind. That's for sure. Now, early on in the process, he was a guy who was really lean. And when you have a guy like that, you're always trying to assess, all right, hey, can this guy ultimately put on the bulk to play in the SEC? Really, really athletic guy. I got a chance to watch him play basketball. Really, really athletic on the basketball court. So all that stuff was great. And I thought his coaching staff up at Melissa did a really good job of keeping me up to date with kind of his progress. So I thank them for that for sure. But as he went through his senior year, or I should say, I apologize, as he went through the spring before his senior year, you could really see him start to put on the weight. And I think when he ultimately officially visited in June before his senior year, I want to say we weighed him in right around 270, 275, which for a guy with his frame was more than enough in my mind that we'd be able to get him to where he wanted to get to. And then I think he was 290 when he got here. And I think he's usually between 310 and 315, 317. That's usually where he is. But the athleticism was always there. I was always really excited about his athleticism. And then ultimately, as soon as he showed me that, okay, this guy's going to have the size to play in the SEC, to me, he was a no-brainer. He went right to the top of my list.
Denny Davis, go ahead.
Kyle, since he's talking to us, I'm going to assume he's healthy, but Jake would be in line to set the career starts record at Texas if he plays on Wednesday. Why has he been such a consistent force for y'all since you got here and inherited him from the previous staff?
Yeah, center. Jake has started every game at center for me since I've been here. That's pretty neat. I've over 4 years. I don't know if I've ever had that before. So that is certainly a really, really nice luxury for me to have somebody who's been with me and thinks like me. But your question is, like, what does that mean to us, or why is that a good thing? I think because he loves everything about football. He's a catalyst for the energy of the football team. If you to steal Coach Sark's expression, like, if you're going to be a thermostat or a thermometer, well, he's a thermostat. He sets the temperature in the room. He's not taking the temperature. He sets the temperature. And he kind of sets the standard for us in that offensive line room. And I think it does spill over to the rest of the offense just because of his personality. So, I think it starts with his love for everything about football. He loves practice. He loves the meetings. He loves the rehab afterwards. He loves the training and the weightlifting. And there's just nothing about it he doesn't love. So that's infectious on a football team. And it's really, really invaluable.
Josh Newman, go ahead.
Yeah, Kyle, just to kind of follow that up, Jake and some of the other guys have been, with you for a long time and they'll be moving on. Of course, you're worried about here and now in the Peach Bowl, but somewhere in the back of your mind, are you at all thinking about what 2025 could look like and just, the need to ingratiate some new pieces?
As a college coach, especially, you're always like coaching your current team, and then there's always an eye to the future of, all right, hey, how are we building this roster? How are we building this position group? So, we have to do that. That's just good practice in terms of what you have to do as a coach. It never takes away from what you're doing right now. But I'm excited about my room. I think we've got a deep room. I think we've got a versatile room in terms of guys being able to play different positions. And that'll be something that'll all shake out in the offseason, but they're practicing hard right now. Well, one of the advantages of playing this long is we get to continue to practice. So these practice weeks are really, really valuable to these young players. The freshmen in our group, like Nate Kibble and Danny Cruz, and Brandon Baker. It's like the guys who have only been here a year. Well, now not only do they practice with us through the regular season, now we're kind of deep into the postseason. And it's just, those practices are really valuable. So, we're always looking at it. And I like the room that we have, but that stuff will all shake out in the offseason. Right now, we're kind of focused with the team on getting a win in this game.
Cedric Golden, you're up.
Hey, Kyle, the line was pretty healthy for the most part, but when these injuries came, with Kelvin and with Cam, how important was the cross training that you did in the preseason, just in case this happened?
It's really important. I think it's really important. I think part of my obligation to Coach Sark and to the offense is to make sure we can always get whatever combination of the best 5 players on the field is. And that's why I tell people it's not like, okay, this guy's the backup right tackle and this guy's the backup right guard and this guy's the backup center. That's not how it works. And it's not a negative to any player who didn't go in the game when the injuries happened. It's just, to me, I got to make sure we've got the best combination of 5. So if that means Cole Hudson's got to play right guard or left guard, well, that's kind of how we train him during the week. And if that means Trevor Goosby's got to play right tackle or left tackle, or Hayden Connor's got to go to center so that we can keep that best combination in there, that's really, we start that in very, very early in the year to make sure we're ready to do it when we need it. And we were fortunate this year to not need it for a while, but now we need it, and we're going to probably need it going forward.
Chip Brown, go ahead.
Hey, Kyle. Are you interested in being a head coach again?
Right now, I'm interested in winning the Peach Bowl. So I appreciate that question. I think, those kind of questions are always a function of success. And generally, when you're an assistant coach, if you get an opportunity to be a head coach, it's because you were really good at the job you were doing, and the team you were with was successful. So, we'll entertain those things down the road, if and when they come. And it's always flattering to be considered for those things, but I don't ever put my mind there, because right now we've got enough of a challenge trying to play really well against a good Arizona State team.
David Eckert, go ahead.
Hey, Kyle, appreciate the time today. I was just curious, something interesting that came out of yesterday was a couple of the players talked about Coach PK and I guess his patience when it comes to making late adjustments in the play clock pre-snap. I'm just curious, from an offensive perspective, what kind of challenge does that pose when a defensive coordinator is willing to do that and kind of tweak things late before the snap?
You mean like when the defense changes late in
Yes,
the
sir. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's certainly a challenge. I think offensively, we try to be really good at controlling the tempo to try to make the play callers on defense not have the ability to know when the ball is going to be snapped. And sometimes that, you saw us in the last game. Sometimes we go faster and sometimes we don't go nearly as fast. But no, it's an issue. It does complicate things. One of the harder things to deal with on offense is when the picture changes, because now 11 guys got to make a change in their mind in terms of what their assignment and technique is going to be.
Perry Middleton, go ahead.
Bud, good afternoon. Through your career, you've coached a lot of great players. What is it about this group of guys that you'll remember most?
Well, I think the first thing is that I've had them for 3 and 4 years. It's kind of unique. You know, nobody likes to move around, as a coach. I was in one place for 11 years. So I'm certainly, I've had that experience before this. Um, Everybody likes to be in one place. You like your family to have kind of stability. All those things are good things, but things happen in the profession. Sometimes you get promoted to a job and it's a job, that's a good job, and you move, kind of like I did when I came here from Alabama to be the offense coordinator of Texas. So those are all really good things. But now to have been here for 4 years and have guys like Jake and Hayden, who I've had for 4 years, and then that first recruiting class where we took 7 and they're all still here. That's unique. And, in this day and age, especially now with the portal and all the other stuff that's going on, to recruit 7 players in the same class and have them all still be here, that is really, really unique. So I've got a real connection with these guys. And I've had good connections with other players in the past, but when you say I would say, hey, the fact that I've had these guys for 4 years, 3 and 4 years, my connection to them and how much they like each other, because I promise you, they wouldn't have all stayed if they didn't like each other. And they get along, they kid each other, they push each other. They're not afraid to hold each other accountable. It's really a special kind of culture that they've created in this room, kind of more specific even than what it is as a team. So all that stuff is really neat. And, the other part of it for me is, I had an older son who kind of grew up in a football building, and now I've got a younger son who's doing the same thing here. And they were both out there at practice today. And that was kind of neat for me to see that and how comfortable my younger guy is now with these players, kind of like my older guy was with a group of players that were at another place. So those things are all special, and they're all kind of, they make this group a little bit unique.
Got time for the last few questions in queue. Jeff Howe, go ahead.
Hey, Kyle, I know Sark has talked about Isaiah Bond trying to get healthy and work his way back. When you got IB healthy and a part of the plan, how much does that dynamic change what you guys can do offensively? Not just his ability to stretch the field, but also acting as an extension of the run game on screens and jet sweeps and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know that it changes what we do on offense necessarily, but IB is a special kind of weapon. And you kind of answered the question with the question, like his elite speed, it's just different. He's got the ability to be explosive every time he touches the ball because of how well he runs. And, he's been out there practicing. I'll let Sark speak to his availability. I don't know if he has yet or not, but I'll let him speak to that. But certainly we're all excited when he's out there. And I do think it just causes one more different kind of stress on the defense when you have somebody out there with that kind of speed.
DJ Vogel, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, I asked PK this yesterday, but wanted to get your take on it from an offensive side. These extra bowl practices aren't really bowl practices like they've been in the past where you've had 2 or 3 weeks building up for one game. What's that like for you to kind of utilize the young talents moving forward and what's expected to be, extra practices or, opportunities for development for these younger guys?
I kind of like it. And I like it for this reason. I think learning a game plan is a skill. And just like any other skill in life, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So even though some of these younger guys are playing on the scout team and they're maybe doing some different stuff, they're still in some of those game plan meetings, and they're having to learn the game plan. And I think that's gonna serve those guys really well going forward next year when they're a little closer to the top of the depth chart. So I think the idea of continuing to have to learn game plans in a game specific mode, I kind of like it. I think it's been good for these guys.
Coach, thank you for taking the time. Sorry about that. Wanted to ask you about outside of Georgia, you found some real success in the run game the last back half of this season. What do you attribute to that success, and what do you need to do moving forward to be playing on through January 20th?
Well, I think like you're thinking a little bit more big picture, I think, than coaches think. We've had some success running the football. There've been a couple games where we haven't. But regardless of any of that, we don't start the game with any rushing yards this week. So we've got to execute this game plan. That's how I look at it from our perspective. It was great to rush the ball the way we did in the last game, but we don't get any kudos for that. So we got to earn every yard that we rush for this week against a defense that presents a lot of challenges. So, I'm not worried about January 20th right now. I'm not worried about the 10th or the 11th right now. We're worried about the Peach Bowl and playing really well in this game. And I think the way you do that is to practice well. And I'm excited about how we practiced the last couple of days.
Last one for Coach Flood, Joe Cook.
Coach, Sark talked a lot this year about how y'all got outside zone back on track, and he spoke some to the offensive line and what they did. How did Trey and Jaden as well, your running backs, help outside zone also get back on track?
Yeah, there is no good running game if your running backs aren't in sync with the offensive line. So I think the tracks, the reads, having their eyes in the right place. Um, when you watch running backs, the way you know you have a really good running back is when you see a change of speed as they go through the line of scrimmage. That means they're really seeing it. I've heard people say like their feet are connected to their eyes. Well, that's kind of what they mean. Like there's an acceleration as they burst through the line. I think you saw that last week with Trey and with Jaden. So I think the reps they've gotten this year have shown up, and we're doing a better job of blocking it. I think they're doing a better job of reading it. And then when they do make their read, they're doing a great job of accelerating through the line. And every once in a while they got to make a guy miss, and they've done that too. So we're fortunate, even with the situation we're in the running back room, to have guys like Trey and Jaden and Jarek who are doing a really nice job running the ball for us.
Hey Quinn, what when Isaiah Bond is healthy and ready to go, what kind of impact does he have on the offense, and how much does he change how dynamic you guys can be?
I mean, yeah, it's always going to be hard to cover a guy that's, that fast and has that much speed on the outside and can make moves and is just a really dynamic receiver.
Josh Newman, go ahead.
Yeah, Quinn, just with this season alone, how much have you seen Arch grow up, in terms of, his mentality and how he approaches the game and just how prepared do you believe he is to kind of take the reins of Sark's offense?
And yeah, I think over the past 2 years, he's definitely grown and matured for sure to be able to be successful at Texas.
Danny Davis, go ahead.
Quinn, over your 3 years, what has Jake meant to you personally and to this program, Jake Majors?
Yeah, I mean, he means a lot to everybody on this team. I know that for sure. I mean, just the amount of juice that he brings and just the amount of comfort that we all have playing beside him and knowing that he's going to get us all in the right call for pass protection and for the run game. I mean, just a super smart guy and awesome guy to be around for sure.
Cedric Holden, you're up.
Hey Quinn, we talked to Jade and Michael Taft yesterday about the grind of this season. It's a long season. You played long seasons at South Lake Carroll, getting all the way to state title game. How is this similar to that? And what do you have? What special preparations do you have to go through to stay fresh? Because it's a real grind. You guys can play 17 games. It gets all the way to January 20th.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, it's a long season and um, it's nice to have a little more time in between these games to be able to get to, as close as you can back to 100%. And also just gives you more time to prepare for the opposing team that we're playing. And but at the end of the day, it's awesome. It's awesome to still be playing football whenever other guys are at home or training for the combine or whatever it is. But it's definitely a blessing to still be playing football for sure.
David Eckert, go ahead.
Oops, sorry. Oven is going off. Hey, Quinn. I'm just curious, what are 2 or 3 things that you specifically need to do to be successful on Wednesday?
I think I just need to be a good leader through the adversity because adversity is going to strike and just take care of the football.
Harry Middleton, go ahead.
And good afternoon. So, thinking back when you were a kid and dreaming about being a quarterback at the University of Texas, were your dreams this big? Did you ever think that you would be playing at this stage, being the general on the field to lead this team to not only the Peach Bowl, but potentially further?
Yeah, I mean, it's the stuff you think about as a kid for sure, but you know, you never know if it was actually going to happen or not. But now we're actually in the situation. But I don't think it's really sunk in. What's really going on around me and just the blessings that I've been able be a part of.
Jeff Howe, go ahead.
Quinn, as you guys get further along into the playoff and the season progresses, I was just wondering, blocking out the outside noise, be it good or bad, seems easier said than done. What keeps you grounded and focused and locked in and not, thinking about what's outside or what's next or anything, just kind of focused on today and then the next day? What keeps you grounded?
Well, I think my teammates, because that's what they deserve. You know, we're all in the same situations. We all have stuff going on outside of football, but we all decide to come here and come to the facility and practice each and every day, be away from our families, be away from our loved ones. And, we all have the ultimate goal of trying to win a national championship. And that's what everybody deserves. Everybody deserves my best. And I think that if you ask anybody in that room, or anybody in the locker room, that they'll say the exact same thing.
Got time for 3 last questions in queue. Chip, go ahead.
Quinn, does this feel like it's new life for you, this team, now that you're in the playoffs? And you talk about your ability to raise your level. You did that against Clemson. And did DeAndre say anything to you, after he dropped the pass that ultimately got picked?
Um, sure, I mean, you can look at it like our first however many games until the bye week was a season, and then again until our next bye was a season, and then again until the playoffs was a season. So you could say we're kind of in a new season for sure, but um, I think what we've done a really good job of this year is just taking each week as its own week and focusing on what we need to do that particular week and not being focused on what's ahead or what just happened the previous week. And um, yeah. And then with DeAndre, I mean, no one's worried about that with DeAndre. I mean, I think I let him up the field a little too much, and um it can go either way.
2 last ones. Thomas Jones.
Quinn, Happy New Year. When you have a guy like Trevor Gooseby up front, how can you help a young player, in practice and during the game itself? As a quarterback, what can you do to help him?
Well, I think what helps him the most and what I've noticed is just the smaller things, whether that be, you know, uh, it could be as simple as a high five or a knuckle bump or just telling him, hey, good job there. Good job. Pass protection. You're doing a heck of a job out there. And I think that goes a long way for young guys because I know for sure when I was young that would help me a whole lot. Just as simple as that. If an older guy, a leader of the team came up to me and just told me I was doing a good job, I'm like, oh, all right, now I'm gonna settle in here a little bit and kind of get into that flow state.
Last one, Joe Cook.
Kind of along those lines, what's it say about Trevor himself that, if Cam's not able to go, if Kelvin gets knocked out of the game, that, he can jump right in and you still feel like you can be protected on either side by number 74.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely proved that over the past few weeks that, he's more than capable of coming in at any moment in time and being able to, go play ball and just super proud of the way that he's carried himself and prepared himself to be able to do that throughout this year, going into the season, you got 2 really good tackles and, Gooseby's sitting behind him, he's probably thinking he's not going to get much playing time this year. And then for him to be able to kind of flip that switch late in the season, it's been really cool.
Yeah, Gunnar, I'm not sure if you've been asked this before, but we live in a college football world where if a freshman or a sophomore is not playing immediately, maybe they move on to the portal and try to find a different situation. Why did you choose to stay at a time when you weren't playing a ton early, and maybe you could have gone somewhere else and played more immediately than you have at Texas?
Yeah, my initial thought on that is, when I committed to Texas, I committed to the school. Obviously, I committed to the program, but the tradition, the alumni network, the game day environment, the conference prestige, the plan for me individually, that was my goal. That was why I committed to Texas, and just I was told on a daily basis really to just keep following the plan, keep following the plan, keep following the plan, and yeah, I'll admit it was pretty frustrating at times to keep following that plan, but Look what it's done for me now, and I couldn't be more blessed to be coached by this amazing coaching staff, and couldn't be more blessed to be in the position I'm in.
Thomas Jones, go ahead.
Kind of on that, Gunner, it's pretty rare for a young guy to play a lot at Texas. What do you see from Trevor Gooseby as a young guy playing both tackles? Mentally, what stands out about him when he's playing?
Well, immediately just his maturity to be, plug and play. Young kid coming in and really shutting down some of the best edge rushers in the country. And, when we played Georgia and A&M and what other game he was in, obviously, you don't turn an eye to it just because you know that Trev has it locked down on the edge. And just obviously speaks so much on his maturity, but just, the level of football IQ that Trev has in his head is really second to none. He's going to be a really good player when it comes down to it. And, obviously he's a veteran already as it is.
Chip Brown, go ahead.
Hey Gunner, Happy New Year and congratulations on the records.
Thank you.
Steve Sarkisian was talking about how everyone needs to elevate over these 4 games in this college football playoff. How are you seeing that? And, how are the players encouraging each other to make sure that elevation happens?
Yeah, I mean, as the deep season goes on, we're getting closer and closer as a team every day. We continue to get closer. We continue to, have a great culture, and we continue to build on our culture. So, long story or long answer short, I guess just buying back into each other and getting closer and playing for each other, playing as a team.
Senator Golden, go ahead.
Hey Gunnar, I asked Kelvin and Jake this. You 3 guys be in the league next year, and this is a great opportunity. There are 125 teams that would love to be where you are right now in the Elite Eight. How much are you enjoying the process, enjoying this experience, and while you're trying to figure out how to get this done?
Yeah, it's really cool to, be in the position we are in. It doesn't really matter about the first round bye. All that's behind us now. We've been playing on a weekly basis now. We haven't had much time off. So we're kind of in our groove right now. I think that makes us pretty dangerous. And, as for the process of playing deep in the playoff, the dream is a national championship. Obviously give credit to all these teams that are playing in these bowls all around the country. They've earned that. But, personally, my dream is a national championship, and just to be in the position that we're in is a blessing in itself, and come to work every day with the same attitude to get better, and continue to get better as we wrap up, the second round.
Jeff Howe, you're up.
Gunner, kind of piggybacking on what you were asked a minute ago, as you guys get further along into this thing, there's already so much that's on Quinn already, just being the quarterback at Texas. How have you seen him manage everything and handle everything? And how impressed have you been with how he's taken this kind of life in a fishbowl of being the quarterback at Texas and still continuing to get you guys, get the offense in the right plays and put the offense in a position to be successful every week?
Yeah, what I love about Quinn is, he's a pretty clear-minded guy. And, if he has something on his mind, he gets it off his mind really quick, whether that's talking to someone about it, whether that's Coach Sark or Coach Milwee or something like that. And if it's out of the football building, then he talks to his family about it and gets it out of his mind right away. So he does his best to go into every day with a clear-headed mindset. And he's all football. And that's one of the things I respect most about him. He's completely tuned out to the outside world. He couldn't care less what anybody else is saying about him, unless, obviously it's his coaching staff, and he's taking constructive criticism, and he's getting better every day.
Danny Davis, go ahead.
Gunnar, over your 4 years here at Texas, what has Jake Majors meant to this program and to you individually?
Absolutely everything. He's obviously a part of a group that has established the culture here. Going from a 5-7 team, and being on the team before that 5-7 team, and then going 8-4, and then going, to the college football playoff semifinal, and then the path and trajectory that we're on now. It's just, speaks volumes to his maturity to stay and trust the process of the University of Texas and bring the University of Texas back to what the standard should be.
Harry Middleton, go ahead.
I know you talk about people just telling you to follow the plan, follow the plan. I suspect at the beginning of the season, you had a plan for what you wanted to accomplish this season. Obviously, the national title, national championship, we can see that in your eyes. But how have you done with what you wanted to accomplish for this season? On a
Yeah.
personal level.
I mean, as for team goals, you said it best. It's the national championship game. It's the SEC championship game. It's helping all my teammates get the awards that they deserved, which comes with team success and as well as individual success. But personally, I've checked off a lot of my personal goals, which at the time I thought were pretty extreme. Being invited to the Senior Bowl, you know, postseason get drafted, play for a national championship game, win an SEC title game. So, I didn't even have it as a goal to break the single season receptions record for a tight end. So that was pretty lofty in the back of my mind. But just to be in that position speaks volumes to this coaching staff for getting me ready to play throughout the years, telling me exactly what I needed to work on in order to put me in position to be where I am today. But obviously playing for a national championship trumps all those, and hopefully we can get it done as a team.
Jeff, how are you up?
Gunnar, what does a healthy Isaiah Bond mean for this offense? And from your vantage point, how much does he change how this offense functions when he's healthy and out there?
Yeah, he brings a type of leadership to the offense. Just a veteran player that's been in these kind of situations before. That's been in them countless times, and he brings a maturity to the offense, brings another aspect of explosiveness into the offense. So having him back is huge for us, and we know that. And we're really excited.
Got one last one for Gunner. Go ahead, Kirk.
Hey Gunner, I was just on the conference call with Arizona State, and they're a fired up, hungry bunch that feels very disrespected. Is this a game where y'all are really gonna have to tap in and match their intensity because they feel like nobody gives them a chance to win?
Well, before playing us, they were a team that all year played very hard to the whistle every play, especially on defense. That was the first thing you noticed when you turned on the tape. It was a veteran defense that plays extremely hard to the ball and they finish plays. So we saw their turnover margin and what they do to create turnovers on the defensive side. So we knew that we really had to finish in the run game, finish in the pass game, make sure Quinn felt protected to make his throws downfield, run crisp routes because like I said, they're a great defense and extremely good football team. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here in the first place.
Hey, Jake, I was curious if what you saw from the offensive lineman who had to step in the game after the injuries came down, and did you have a grade for Hayden Connor for how he did at center?
I thought that overall the offensive line did a great job executing. It's tough losing two of your starting O linemen, but the way that they were able to, be shuffled around, move in, and execute at that level, it was just awesome to see. So it just shows you how far we've come as an organization. And then I'd give Hayden an A+. I thought he did a good job communicating. I thought he did a great job of identifying the fronts. So just super proud of him.
Thomas Jones, you're up.
Hey Jake, how you doing? I was asking some of the other guys about Trevor Gooseby, being a young guy filling in at both tackle spots. What do you see from Trevor mentally, like that makes him handle that responsibility?
Yeah, he's kind of like a sponge. Like I said, you can either be a thermostat or a thermometer, and he's like a thermostat. He kind of comes in with the same mindset of always wanting to keep learning. He asks great questions to Kelvin and Cam, and also whenever he asks a question, he gets the answer. He applies it to the field. That's very unique to do that at such a fast pace. So that's what stands out to Gooseby. He's just so gifted.
Josh Newman, go ahead.
Jay, can you just take us through the play that you were hurt on? It didn't look great. It's not every day that you're down on the turf like that for that long. Can you just take us through what happened there?
It was second down. We were passing the ball. I saw the ball get tipped up. Defense caught it. Went to go, get in front of the guy just to cause him to, have to move and someone else to get the tackle. And I felt myself get blindsided and kind of landed on my back the wrong way. And it just kind of went from there where, I kind of needed help getting off the field. And, it wasn't a good feeling, but just to be able to see, the guys get shuffled in and execute at a high level, they did a great job without me. So I'm super proud of them.
Cedric Golden, go ahead.
Hey, Jake, when those two running backs got hurt in the preseason, said and Christian, you and Gunnar were really outspoken. You challenged those running backs to step up, the guys that were healthy. What put it on your heart to do that, and how do you think they've responded?
Yeah, it's just at the end of the day, I know that we needed them, and they have exceeded all the expectations that anybody could have for them. Blue and Trey, I think they do a great job of complementing each other. Blue, when he gets out in space, good luck tackling him. And then Trey's going to put the crown of his helmet in your chest. So we got like these two guys that, have two different flows to the game, but they execute at such a high level. And for them to just keep getting better and better every week, like I said, it just shows you the growth of this organization from the past couple years.
Jeff Howe, you're up.
Jake, there's a lot of pressure on the quarterback at Texas. I was just wondering from your standpoint, how have you seen Quinn the further along you guys get into this, the longer the season goes on? How have you seen him handle, the pressure, all the external noise, everything that, comes along with being the quarterback at Texas? How have you seen him manage all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think he does it the best out of anybody I've ever seen, just because he knows who he is as a person. He's a faith-based guy. He at the end of the day, he's worried about how he reflects Jesus Christ, and also he just knows that no mistakes are gonna ever define him. This game doesn't define him, so he's gonna go out there and leave it all on the field, not for himself, but also his teammates. I think he's very team driven. He wants the best for this team, and he understands he has a big role, so he's gonna execute at a high level for his teammates because he loves his teammates.
Skip Brown, go ahead.
Hey, Jake, Happy New Year. Steve was talking about come to Jesus meeting about not committing penalties. So I wanted to ask you what the message was there. And then your thoughts on facing these former Longhorns on Arizona State's team, Xavier Alford and Troy O'Meara and Jake Smith and Zach Swanson.
Yeah. To answer your first question, just kind of was talking about, the penalty is just making sure that, you're not getting too emotional in the heat of the moments, and you just realize that, what you do reflects on your team, and it doesn't just hurt yourself, it hurts the whole team. And then to answer your second question, I think it's really cool getting to play these guys that, I knew when I stepped here in 2020 with Xavier Alford and Troy O'Meara and, Jake Smith at the time, who was already here. I think it's super exciting. I'm sure it's super cool for them to play the team that they once played for. But at the end of the day, it's the college football playoffs, and we're playing to win.
Danny Davis, go ahead.
JP may have asked you about this a couple weeks ago, but being the all-time starts leader at Texas, what does that mean to you? Are you too focused on chasing a national championship, or can you take time to appreciate what you've been able to do these 4 or 5 years?
Yeah. It's definitely crossed my mind the past 2 weeks because someone's brought it up to me multiple times. But I wouldn't be here without the training staff and the nutrition staff that takes care of me every day. I give all the accolades and all that to them because I want to be in this position, with the health of my body without them. It's super cool to, have my name in the record book. But at the end of the day, I'm going out there playing for my team. It's cool to cool to look at it and recognize it. But at the end of the day, I'm out here playing for my teammates.
Roger Wallace, go ahead.
Yeah, Jake, what's this been like last year? You get into that last 4 team, that obviously was huge. But then, this year you're trying just to get to that point, and it's your second playoff game. What's this run been like for you guys?
Yeah, I think it's just something that we expected because, we knew we were capable of being here, but we weren't entitled to it. So we just kind of had to work for it. And to see, week by week, this team get better every day and every week, it's just been cool to see. And, we expect to be here and we expect to keep improving.
Last one for Jake. Jeff Howe, go ahead.
Yeah, Jake, you mentioned getting to campus in 2020. I was just wondering, through that whole year, as strange as it was, and then even the COVID stoppages early in 2021, the guys that have taken advantage of the additional year to come back, how much do guys need that year back just because of how crazy everything was from a a player development standpoint, kind of your first, 12, 18 months on campus?
Yeah, I don't think that that year was ideal for anybody. They only get told so much about their freshman year and how it'll be, and then for it to be cut short by COVID and something like that. I definitely think it's cool that people are able to use that year to come back and actually experience what college is like. For me, it's only been beneficial for me to have this extra year to come back and be a part of such a special team and a historic team. So, um, you know, however people see it, I think it's very beneficial for those who kind of missed out on their freshman year.
One last one, Cedric, go ahead.
Hey, Jake, I asked Kelvin Banks this. There are 125 teams that would love to trade places with the Elite Eight. How much are you guys appreciating this journey and a real opportunity to win the national championship? It's just 3 games away.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a great question. And I think I've just kind of seen it firsthand today, just how everybody's, been in the facility, talking with each other, just enjoying the moments, knowing that, the season, you get max 3 more weeks and then that's it. And so many more teams would want to trade this position. So just taking it in every day, enjoying every moment, and just, again, like I said, giving it all for the guys next to you, because at the end of the day, it's a team sport and we got to do this for each other.
Kelvin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I was just curious if you've ever played right tackle, what's the difference between playing left and right, and how does this kid Trevor Gooseby, what is he doing to be able to do both of those effectively?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say there's a big difference. The only difference is you just got to kind of switch your technique over, which you can say that's the big difference. So just going out there and Gooseby, in meetings, practice, he's like such a sponge, man. He soaks in everything you're telling him. He's not he kind of like, in a way, he's not too big for criticism, or too big to be taught anything. So he soaks it in, and he goes out there every day. And I tell him, I mean, like, be confident in yourself. And I feel like that's the biggest thing. If you can go from left to right, just being confident, knowing your assignment, and knowing that you can make that block.
Joe Cook, go ahead.
Kelvin, I know the run game and Sark focused a lot on fixing outside zone, or making it work a little bit better. What did the running backs do to really help in that process?
I mean, yeah, they kind of they do their job every time. They kind of it works hand in hand in a sense. We have to make sure we give them the lanes to go to, kind of show them the hole, and then them just stretching the play and puncturing it when it's the right time. So it's kind of go hand in hand. But I feel like we've both been doing a great job at that.
Travis Gailey, you're up.
Hey, Kelvin, thanks for taking the time. Kelvin, thanks for taking the time. I was curious, when the injuries hit against Clemson, how much of an adjustment is it to play alongside somebody like Cole Hudson as opposed to Hayden Connor? When you get that shuffling of the line, is that a tough thing to do?
Not really. In practice, we rotate all the time. We kind of like have that. I guess you could say that brotherhood that kind of keeps us connected. Even in practice, we do drills where coaches switch Hayden out, or coaches switch the different guys out, because, like you said, you never know what happens. Different guys could get hurt and different guys could go down. So we all have that connection, like so that we know what each other's going to do on the field.
Jeff Howe, you're up.
Hey, Kelvin, from your standpoint, what does a healthy Isaiah Bond do for this offense, and how much does he change how dynamic you guys can be when he's healthy and on the field?
Yeah, when Bond is on the field, he can change a lot in our game. He can catch a 2 yard pass and turn it into a touchdown. So I know any O lineman, every O lineman want that. Every O lineman want a guy to catch a 2 yard bubble and have a touchdown. So he's that type of guy. He got great speed. He's a great team player, and he goes out there and puts his body on the line for the team. So when he's healthy, he's definitely a guy.
Danny Davis, go ahead.
Kelvin, in your 3 years here at Texas, what have you learned from Jake Majors, and what is he like in that O-line room?
Yeah, the biggest thing I learned from Jake is, like, it's never enough to just learn what your position does. It's kind of a sense, like, you have to know everything, because if you know the whole front, you kind of makes your life a little easier, because you know what each guy's gonna do. And also just the leadership aspect. Jake is a great leader. He kind of leads the way in that room, and he kind of helps me as well, kind of be more vocal and speak up a lot more.
Chip Brown, go ahead.
Kelvin, happy New Year, man.
You too.
I was talking to your high school coach, Kenny Harrison. He told me a story about how you would go to lunch with a member of your offensive line, a guy who probably needed you to boost his confidence.
Mm,
You'd go to lunch with him like every day.
mm.
We're getting ready to, play in the playoffs. Um, just wondered what kind of leadership stuff you've done at Texas that might mirror that,
Yeah.
you've tried to bring guys along.
Yeah, I'll say something that mirrors that. One thing that comes to mind is just I'll go through film and I'll watch practice and I'll watch like different game and stuff and I'll kind of get all the offensive linemen in the group chat and I'll kind of like give little tips and reminders of things they could have worked on or things they done good or could do a little better. And also uh we always call a tackles meeting one day out of the week and we always watch film on the rushers, kind of just trying to pick guys' brains and see what different ways they would attack the end or like see if they've been watching like the different rushes or moves they've been doing. So I'll say those are two things that I've been doing the past 2 years.
Josh Newman, go ahead.
Hey, Kelvin, how effective has Kyle Flood been as a teacher and just helping you better yourself and better your career and just helping you push forward?
Yeah, man, he's a great teacher. He kind of lets you know when you're doing good, and he lets you know when you're doing bad. So I kind of like that about him. He's not afraid to coach you. He gets out there and gets after it pretty well. So he's done great. He's helped me so much with technique and just different small things that you need to fix that you would never even think of because you'll go out there, you'll see you're blocking a man, you think you did good, and then out of nowhere he's telling you what you could have done better. So I feel like that's like the biggest thing he's been doing good for the whole line room.
Harry Middleton, you're up.
Traveling with the holiday season, a lot of people are traveling. Does any of your family get to come and watch you in Atlanta? Is your mom able to come visit and see you play?
Yeah, they're gonna be down there. My mom, my dad, basically most of my family is gonna be down there to watch me play.
Hey, Kelvin, man, there's 125 teams that would love to be where the Elite Eight are right
Mm.
now, 3 wins away from a championship. How much are you guys having fun in this experience, and how much are you appreciating the opportunity that's in front of you?
Yeah, we're definitely having fun with the experience. I mean, like you said, we really appreciate the opportunity because it's 120 some other teams who want to be in that position, and we don't take that for granted. So we go out every day and attack it like it's going to be our last practice or our last game. So we just try to make sure we kind of stay focused and understand this is win or go home, and we definitely don't want to go home. So we just try to take advantage every day.
Joe Cook, you're up.
Kelvin, after you got your honors,
Mm.
All-American, Lombardi, Allen, have you contacted any of the other, offensive linemen at Texas who've been in that echelon, like Sizemore, Brockermeyer, Blaylock, or maybe even someone like Cosme? I know he went to a different high school in Humble, but he's from the same area.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten too much contact. I talked after I got the Lombardi. I talked to Brian Rackville a little bit. That was pretty cool. And then I got to I talked to Sweat. Obviously, Sweat played with me, so it was kind of like we already knew each other. But I talked to Sweat a little bit, and the only other guy I really talked to so far it was Casey Stutter. Casey Stutter, he comes around often, so you kind of get to pick his brain too sometimes.
Last one for Kelvin. Go ahead, Chip.
Hey, Kelvin, you were the top tackle in your recruiting class, and DJ Campbell was the top interior lineman. What's y'all's relationship like? How have you tried to help each other? I know you're on different sides of the line, but just, talk about that relationship.
Yeah, we have a great relationship. Me and DJ, man, it's like I can never not come to him about anything, whether it's about something he got to fix or something I got to fix. We can never know. We have that relationship where we're okay with each other criticizing each other and just knowing. Even when we came in, we kind of knew each other a little bit before that because we were at the All American game together. So we had a great relationship together. So it's a tight relationship.
Hey, Jaden, Coach Sark spoke in the middle of the year about how outside zone was something y'all kind of went back to the drawing board on and tried to make a lot better. Obviously, the offensive line has their responsibilities. What did the running back room need to do in order to make that play work, and how have y'all put that into practice?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with practice. We emphasize, being better at outside zone. With that starting with us having better eyes. So I think last week, it showed, when we had better eyes that we were able to run, outside zone effectively.
Thomas Jones, go ahead.
Hey, Jaden, good afternoon. There's been a lot of talk about the Arizona State running back. Scadaboo had a great year. Um, does that serve as any motivation at all to like you and Trey, knowing there's a great back on the other side that you kind of want to show what y'all can do?
Yeah, first off, he's a very good back. He has everything you need, in a running back. He has great balance. He's able to make guys miss and he's very strong. So, me and Trey knows, what's at stake. We know what we're capable of doing and our focus is just, being, the best version of ourselves.
Danny Davis, go ahead.
Jaden, I guess maybe you can speak a little bit for Contravion, but how important has it been for you both to just, I guess, get comfortable with this, having a more increased role this season as the season has gone along and just, I guess, just more comfortable with your roles?
Yeah, it's, as the season went on, like I could say towards the middle end, me and him started getting a lot more comfortable, whether that's, in the run game or in the passing game. I think, you could really start to see, us take off, in a big way, towards the end of the year. And, I give, Coach Choice and Coach Sark a lot of credit. They stayed on us to make sure that we were able to run the ball because we know, in order for this offense to go, we have to be able to run the ball.
Cedric Golden, you're up.
Hey, Jaden. When you guys lost Cedric Baxter and Christian in the preseason, Gunnar Helm and Jake Majors came into the running back room and said, "All right, who's going to step up?" What do you remember about that conversation? And did you take that as a personal challenge? And how important was it that they challenged you guys?
Yeah, I did, of course, but, with them going down, we know that we had, a lot of talent in that room, man. We knew that, guys was going to step up in a big way. And, to start with me being an older guy in the room, I was trying my best, pick up the young guys and bring them along with me because I knew that, in order for this team to be successful, that we was going to need those younger guys. But, I think, the young guys have done a good job of picking up on that role and doing their best at that role in order for us, to be successful.
Harry Middleton, go ahead.
Jaden, good afternoon, and thanks for being with us. So, two questions. Did you ever find out how fast you were running on that 77-yarder? And second to that is the times that you were carrying that ball around, how much more confidence do you have? Because I'm looking at tape. You have this reflex when you're running through the line. You almost have like this bar, your arm comes up and covers the ball. I've not seen that before. Maybe you've done it before, but just curious your confidence level and obviously the speed.
Yeah. Well, to answer the first question, I only hit, 21 miles per hour, which is not really fast for me. But, to answer the second question, carrying the ball around definitely put more confidence in me. Because, when you walk around with the ball, it's an instinct of putting the other hand over the ball. And, I've been doing that a lot more, whether that's in practice, whether that's in drills that we do, in the position room. But, I think, that have helped me a lot. It gave me more confidence when I'm running the ball, it's helping me play faster. So, I think carrying the ball, was a, something big for me.
Chip Brown, go ahead.
Jaden, what his Happy New Year, by the way. What his Coach Sark said this week to keep you guys edge, to keep the focus after the big win over Clemson and going on the road and facing a team that you're favored to beat by 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, well, the first thing, he always tells us we have, 3 targets and 3 bullets. So, that means we have to take it, 1 week at a time. We have, three games to go be national champs, which is our end goal. So, that's all, really has to say for this team to, to understand, what our goal is. And we have a lot of, a lot of drive on this team. We have a lot of guys that know, what this team is capable of and what this team wants to go do. So, that's just something, he emphasizes to us to, not look too far ahead and focus on the task at hand.
Got one last one for Jaden. Go ahead, Danny.
Jaden, since we are going back to Georgia this week, and that's an area Coach Choice obviously knows a lot about. Can you speak a little bit about him and the impact he's had in your life and just kind of the coach he is?
Yeah,
He's
man.
been
Yeah, he's made a huge impact on me, not only, in football, but, off the field. And, he's a guy that I can go to, whenever, I'm going through something and, we could talk about, life. And he's just somebody I can lean on. And with football, he's helped me develop in a huge way, whether that's, teaching me how to carry the ball, whether that's teaching me how to run or teaching me how to, run, more precise routes. So, he's probably one of the best coaches that I've had, in my football career. And, I can admit that he's made a huge impact on me.